Hey guys, this is David Osorio, head coach and owner of CrossFit South Brooklyn. We're here with this Inside the Affiliate series to talk about the what, why, and how we do things at our gym that have allowed us to be as successful as we have over the last 10 years. Our goal for you guys is to take this information, steal it, make it your own, and make it better. Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about staffing considerations. This is one of the most common things I get asked about as an affiliate owner, and definitely one of the most important things when it comes to running a professional and successful business. So what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about how we staff our group classes at CrossFit South Brooklyn, as well as some related considerations like coverage, or if you have a rotating versus a consistent schedule, okay? Why we're talking about this. Obviously, this is really important and it affects everybody. If you're an affiliate owner putting together a schedule for the first time or having some issues with your schedule, or if maybe you're a coach who's trying to build your business, trying to find some consistency and predictability in their schedule. And that's really what comes down to, that predictability and consistency. So as a gym owner, which you know, and as someone who works in the gym, the less moving parts, the better. The more we can get a consistent, predictable schedule, the easier it's going to be for everybody to do their job. And lastly, management experience. The reality is a lot of times I get affiliate owners who have come from different sectors, different industries, and they don't have direct management experience. So what we're going to talk about today are some of the things that are most important to us over the last 10 years that we thought would be worth sharing with you guys. So let's talk about the how. Before we actually get into the specifics of scheduling, let's talk about different categories of coach that you might have at your gym and some considerations to think about. So there can be hobby coaches, part-time coaches, and full-time coaches. I have hobby coaches up here, and I'm using that a little bit as a pejorative. What I mean by that is that guy, girl who's coaching your class, who's primarily doing it for a free membership. Maybe they took a level 1 4 years ago, and they're a pretty decent athlete. People generally like them, but they're not really invested in themselves as a coach. They're maybe half in the door, half out. They're not totally engaged. These are not the people that you want to build your business on. In the beginning, I understand you can take what help you can get sometimes, but at the end of the day, as you mature as a business, you don't want to have hobby coaches running your gym. You want professional coaches running every single class. So you're going to try to phase out hobby coaches as you can. Otherwise, we have part-time and full-time coaches. So for us at CFSBK, a full-time coach works 32 hours per week. Part-time coaches work less. Full-time coaches get some benefits that come along with that full-time coach designation. As you grow as an affiliate, you want to have the majority of your classes being taught by the full-time coaches, okay? These people are going to give you the most predictable and consistent experience for your members, the most professional experience, and your part-time folks up here helping out with some of the odd hours, maybe coverage as well too. But this is really important. You want to shift towards full-time coaches as much as you can. It's much easier to run a staff of, say, 4 to 5 full-time coaches versus 25 part-time coaches or 30 hobby coaches. Again, one of the most common things I get, affiliate owners reach out to me and they're having issues with scheduling, and 9 times out of 10, it's because their staff is 30 deep of coaches. Most of those coaches are working 1 to 2 a week. It's really hard to systemize things. It's really hard to get everyone on the same page, and it's really hard to schedule all those moving parts when you've got that many people. So something to consider, if you're in that boat and you've got a ton of coaches, maybe sit down with those coaches, see who's in, who wants to expand their practice at your gym, and begin to bias those people, move classes towards them. So next consideration is your coach to athlete ratio. At CrossFit South Brooklyn, we try to have 1 coach to about 12 to 16 members. So that's going to vary depending on the size of your affiliate, the experience level of your coaches, and just what you guys feel comfortable with. So sit down with your staff and see what you want to do there. Usually this is a pretty good range for most coaches. If you're more experienced, you can buffer a little bit higher. If you're a little bit newer, maybe a little bit less. But what you don't want is a situation where you have 1 brand new coach standing in front of 35 people trying to herd cats, not knowing what to do. The other thing that we do that you might consider is an opt-out option. So what that means is if we have a class that's typically more well attended, say we got 20 to 25 people, and I've got 2 coaches scheduled for that class, what you could do is have the option of an opt-out where 1 coach, if maybe only 8 people show up or 5 people show up, that coach, instead of working the hour, if they choose to, they can pull out, whether maybe they want to work out, maybe they want to go eat or just go home. That helps the coaches save on payroll. It helps unnecessary excessive staffing on class, and it kind of gives the coaches an audible there. So that might be something that you can consider when setting up your schedule and talking to your coaches about what to do if there's a big class versus a really small class. Okay, this next piece is probably one of the most important things we'll talk about, a rotating versus a consistent schedule. And what I mean by that, rotating means that each time the schedule comes out, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, there's a different organization of classes for coaches to work. On my end, I think it makes no sense to have a rotating schedule. It's a lot more work on the back end for you as a manager or affiliate owner to sit down and put together a schedule for people. And for coaches especially, it's really hard to build a coaching practice when you're not sure what your hours are going to look to week. A lot of coaching is piece-time work, meaning people will get paid for specific hours, whether it's a PT client or a group class coach. And if you're not sure what your schedule is going to look like ahead of time, you're not absolutely certain what your Monday night availability is, it's really hard to build a personal training practice. It's really hard for you to have a consistent and predictable life that you can build off of. So make sure that, again, your coaches have a consistent schedule, that you're not going out of your way every single week to do more work than you need to. So next, let's talk about advertising the scheduled staffing. So what I mean by that is, do you tell your members which coaches are teaching which classes? This is a little bit more of a nuanced thing. Maybe it's not a big deal for you, but at CFSBK, we try not to advertise the scheduled staffing because we want our classes to speak for themselves. It doesn't matter if you're taking the 5 p.m. class with Coach Whitney or the 10 o'clock class with Coach Danny. The idea is that the classes should speak for themselves. They're all run consistently, professionally, and members are not worried about trying to go to their favorite coach's class. A lot of times in boutique fitness, we kind of get towards this kind of cult of personality where people become really popular within your affiliate or within your gym, and everyone wants to go to that person's class. If you have that situation, my recommendation is find out what's working so well with that coach and make every class like that. What you don't want is members cherry picking classes, so the 7:30 p.m. class has 35 people in it because they want to go to Coach Danny's class, and the 8:30 class has nobody in it because Bill's got a bad reputation. That's maybe a larger issue that we can think about in terms of the consistency of the classes. But again, my recommendation is have the schedule, have the classes speak for themselves, not so much be reliant on who's coaching them. Finally, we're going to talk about coverage and communication. Coverage is one of those issues that if you don't really have a consistent plan, it's absolute mayhem. So we're going to talk about how we do coverage at CFSBK, the systems that we use, how we leverage our Gmail accounts to make sure that everyone's communicating with each other about how we get covered. All right, so for coverage at CFSBK, we use Google Calendar. We found it to be really effective to get everyone on the same page about what's happening with coverage, and it's really easy for me as a manager to look at the whole month or look at whenever I want, whatever time frame I want, and see what needs to be covered. Prior to this, we were using a really antiquated system with a whiteboard in the office that never basically worked. So this has been a huge upgrade for us. We've used this for a few years now. So as you can see here, there's a basic format. Anything in red means the class is not currently covered. Anything in green means the class is covered and by whom. So we always have the time of the class, the coach requesting the coverage, and then the type of class. And then again, because it's red, you can see that no one's picked it up. When someone does pick up that class, they can fill out their name, put in WIT, and I know what's going on. This is really easy because everyone can quickly on their phone whenever they want check out the coverage calendar. One of our other protocols is that if a coach is requesting more than 2 days within a week, they just talk to me ahead of time so we can check out the coverage calendar together, make sure those classes can be covered effectively. As you look back a little bit, sometimes we have a lot more coverage than other times. Here we have a ton of coverage. So when you have something like this, where you have a couple people going away on vacation, some family issues coming up, you can make sure that everyone's on the same page and that classes are being covered. So definitely recommend using Google Calendar or something similar to track your coverage. In terms of our schedule, so here we have our schedule. We have a Google Doc that we use that allows all the coaches to see when they're scheduled for classes, and they can check out other people to see if they need to figure out, if a coach is available at a certain time. And we have different tabs for specialty group classes, so we know when these are happening, who's coaching them. Our barbell clubs as well. Again, you can quickly see and reference who's doing what where. CrossFit Kids programs. And then we've even got our front desk. And maybe you have a particular space, like a room that you rent out at your gym. We have one room called the Annex, and sometimes when people want to rent it out, they'll have to check to see if it's available, and these are the times for that. If you guys host level ones, we have a specific plan that we do for our level one in our other space. So if you have certain events that are recurring or things that come up at your gym, this is a really easy way to get everyone on the same page. So set these up on Google, check them out, and see if this makes your life a little bit easier. It has for us for sure, so hopefully it will for you too. All right, so those are some of the what's, whys, and hows for staffing considerations, how we do things at CFSBK. Sit down with your team, see what makes sense for you guys, hack this, make it better, make it your own.